Thank you for joining me for yet another episode of Book Talk. This is Eric B. Now, before I get into the next three books, of my next three published books, which are all part of the same series that I call the Night Crusaders series, I would first like to introduce you to the one of my inspirations, probably one of my bigger inspirations for the Night Crusader series, and that is this TV series called Smallville. Now, before I tell you how Smallville inspired me, let me first tell you what Smallville is. For those of you who don't know, Smallville is a TV series that ran from 2001 to 2011. And what Smallville is Clark Kent's 10-year journey from high school freshman to Man of Steel. Basically shows you all his high school years and all the way up to when he first got a job at the Daily Planet, the relationships he's been in, the trials he went through, his his days saving lives as a teenager, all kinds of things that and when he discovers the fortress for the very first time, you get to see all kinds of firsts in Clark Kent's life during those 10 years. Well, I didn't start watching the series in 2001. I actually started watching the series in 2008, and let me explain that. I was living in Chicago at the time, and I was on vacation from my job, and I was visiting some good friends in Columbus, Ohio. Now, while I was visiting these friends in Columbus, Ohio, I remember that Saturday, it was October of 2008. Um, while That Saturday, my friend Mike and I, we were in hanging out in the basement of his house, and we were quite bored. We had no idea what we were going to do that night. Um, and we thought about going out, maybe for karaoke or something, but we decided, nah, we don't really feel like going out. And then he asked me, had I ever watched Smallville? And I said, well, I've heard of Smallville, but I've never actually watched it. And he said that, and that's when he told me that Smallville is basically about, Clark Kent before he became Superman. And I didn't really grow up a Superman fan, but I figured, I may not be a Superman fan, but it does sound intriguing, Clark Kent before he became Superman. So I said, why not? We're bored anyway. We don't know what we're gonna do tonight anyway. Why not? What's the harm in just checking it out? Well, after he showed me the very first episode of Smallville, I was hooked. I was hooked. That show caught my attention immediately. Immediately. I think it was mostly the graveyard scene. The graveyard scene definitely did a lot for me. Apparently, I'm not alone in that. That graveyard scene had an effect on a lot of people who saw the pilot of Smallville for the first time. But that first episode just blew me away. I could not believe it. It started off with the meteor shower that brought Clark Kent to Earth. And it was amazing. It was amazing. And then over the course of the weekend, he showed me three or four more of the episodes, and by the time the weekend was over, by the time it was time for me to go head back home to Chicago and go back to work, I knew I had seen enough of Smallville, and now I had to own my own season one, and which led to me needing to own season two, and on it went from there. Well, fast forward to May of 2011, now Smallville fans have been waiting for up to 10 years to see Tom Wellings. And by the way, a lot of these pictures that you're seeing here on the camera, most of these are Tom Welling. That right there is Tom Welling as young Clark Kent. And as you may be aware, Michael Rosenbaum played Smallville's Lex Luthor. As a matter of fact, you know what? If you're interested in learning more about Smallville, there's a podcast called Talkville, where Tom Welling, who is Smallville's Clark Kent, and Michael Rosenbaum, who is Smallville's Lex Luthor, they talk about Smallville. That's why it's called Talkville. So be sure to check that out. But anyway, getting back to the story here. By May of 2011, us Smallville fans, we have been waiting so long. We have been waiting 10 seasons, and for some people, they have been waiting 10 years to finally see the last episode where we get to see Tom Welling's Clark Kent finally wear the Superman suit, because we had not seen him wear the suit and all this time, and we were excited to see it, and I'm not going to give away that ending, but it was thrilling. It was worth the wait. Let me tell you that it was worth the 10 season wait. I will say that. But anyway, so that was May of 2011. So now we realize, oh man, we finally got to see Clark Kent make it all the way to the end, and now, it's over. It was kind of sad to see Smallville end, but moving forward to June of 2011, I suddenly had the urge to create my own superhero. I don't know why, but I don't know. Maybe I just, I don't know. Maybe the seeing Smallville end affected me differently than it affected some people. It just filled me with the urge to create my own superhero. So what I decided to do is I sat down one day and I started creating superheroes and the traits that I would like that superhero. I had kind of an idea of what I wanted that superhero to look like, but I wasn't really sure. I was kind of making it out in my head. Actually, I won't go too into detail in that right now. We'll save that for another episode, my early inspirations in June of 2011. But let me just tell you that the summer of 2011, that is forever etched in my memory as the summer that I created what is now known as the Night Crusader series. When I first created them, they were they had a different name. That also is for another episode. I don't want to tell you what that name is until I can explain to you how I came up with that name and how I eventually gave that name up. It's actually kind of a silly name. I still cringe when I think about that first name that I gave them before they became the Night Crusaders. But anyway, this is it. But basically, I just wanted to give Smallville credit because Smallville is still my favorite superhero TV series ever. And by the way, just for the record, all these other superhero series that you've been seeing that came out in the 2010s and 2020s, all of these started with Smallville. Smallville is the show that got the ball rolling. Smallville is the show that got you know, made TV superhero TV series is great. This is where it all started. All the Supergirl, Green Arrow, uh, you know, Gotham, all these great superhero series that you love so much. It all started with Smallville. Smallville's success is what inspired people to start those series. So I just thought I'd add that in there. Smallville is still one of my favorite TV series of all time. And I got to tell you, man, being introduced to Smallville that one weekend in October of 2008, still one of the greatest accidents of my life. So, So I'm going to go ahead and end it now, but please join me soon for yet another episode of Book Talk. This is Eric B.